Good afternoon, everyone. Is everybody ready to begin? Oh, hi, Sophie and Allie.
Myra, Sophie and Allie together. Wow, twins. Good.
We're actually roommates. It's kind of funny. I don't know if any of y'all knew that.
I was unaware of that. I did see Maura in the mall, though. You guys know what's up, right?
Curtis, you do have a quorum, so whenever you're ready to begin, we can begin.
Yes, ma'am.
If we're ready with marketing, if WSTV is ready, I don't know if we're live streaming just yet. Okay, thank you.
All right. Meeting is called to order. The January 26, 2021 College Advisory Board. Madam Secretary, can you take the roll call?
Yes. So I heard that Faith is going to be a little bit late, but she'll be here in a minute.
Okay.
Bruce Williams, third.
Here.
Ian Brewster.
Here.
Haley Kimmerer.
Here.
Allie Morton.
Here.
Sophie Brown.
Here.
Cameron Allen.
Here.
Myra Ramirez.
Here.
Curtis Walker.
Present.
Jadavian King. Not here. And then me, I'm here.
All right. Are there any excused absences?
No, we don't have any excused absences.
Excellent. All right. At this time, I'd like everybody to take an opportunity to look over the minutes from the prior meeting. And then someone can make the motion for the approval of the minutes. And then someone needs to second that motion.
I make the motion to approve the minutes.
I second that motion.
Secretary, can you take a vote on the motion to approve the minutes?
Yes. Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Ian Brewster.
Aye.
Haley Kimmerer.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Bruce Williams III.
Aye.
And Paulina Solis Faith, aye. Any nays? Thank you.
Motion to approve the minutes carries. And now we'll move on to, well, before we move on to the general meetings and reports, Ms. Wando or Ms. Jamie, do you have any comments? Okay, excellent. So then we'll move on to general business, the committee meetings and reports. I am at loss to say that I have the wrong notepad and I do not have all the committee members and their reports. However, it's good to see you back again, Ian, and I believe that you are in the government committee. Right. I'm going to assume that you don't have anything to report on that. I don't recall who else is in that committee outside of Faith. But Ian, would you take lead on that report?
I do apologize. I'm just now recently getting back from my absence for a session. see if there's any updates.
There is an update, if I'm correct. I don't know if we ever actually got the opportunity to get Allie on the government committee. Allie, did we do that?
Yeah, I think I am on that committee.
Okay. Is there any news that you can report? Understanding that, COVID has kind of knocked us out of whack.
No, I don't have any news to report, but I think we're still working on establishing a time where we can all attend a city council meeting. I think that was the next thing that we were looking forward to.
Okay. To be noted. Let's move on to the public relations. And
Mr. Chair, excuse me, for Allie, what you mentioned about a date attending a city council meeting, Allie, I would recommend that government relations work with the Youth Advisory Council, your sister board, to perhaps attend the meeting at the same time, because they also do the same thing in terms of trying to pick a date. And so they are looking at a date in March. And so if that would work for CAB, maybe you can kind of work together. And the way it would work now is I'm assuming that at that time, it'll still be virtual meetings. So it would be a matter of just making sure that you're watching the meeting by way of YouTube or on the live stream via the city's website. So it wouldn't require a lot for CAB to have representation, but we can always work with your committee to make sure that you all are in sync, just so you can all do it at the same time, because the mayor and the city council normally will recognize you for being there. If that sounds appealing to government relations.
Definitely sounds appealing.
Yes. Thank you, Ms. Wanda, for that.
You're welcome.
Since we're waiting for VP Faith to join us, why don't we move to Ms. Cameron Allen at Wake Forest University and our story, I believe you're a historian? Yes. And let's deal with the public relations and see what's going on there. I do know that there's a newsletter. So take it away.
Definitely. We're working on some content for this upcoming newsletter. And I would love, again, for everyone who has anything going on at school, if you want to share it in the newsletter this semester, any projects coming up, volunteer opportunities, we love to include that. Right now, I know this past month, we've made some great progress on the surveys at everyone's school and different institutions for the hunger portion and for the housing portion. So that's something I'm working on consolidating in a report. And if you all have any information, I'll probably work on at least sending that article out earlier if anyone has any addendums or suggestions. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Excellent. Cameron, do you know if anybody else is on the committee with you?
I'm not sure, actually. I'm sorry about that.
No, that's good.
I don't think so. I think she's the only one in that committee.
Okay. So since we're still with that committee, is there anyone that has an interest in joining Cameron and working on these projects? No one. Okay, moving right along. I believe, I'm sorry, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I would do it, yeah.
Excellent. So then we need to make a motion to add Bruce Williams to that committee. And would somebody make that motion? Bruce, don't make it yourself. And then someone second the motion. Then after that, Madam Secretary, you could take the vote.
I make the motion to add Bruce Williams to the Public Relations Committee.
And I'll second the motion.
Okay, Madam Secretary, can you take the vote?
Okay. Yes. Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Ian Brewster.
Aye.
Kaylee Kimmerer.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Bruce Williams III.
Excuse me, aye.
Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Jadavian King.
Aye.
Are there any nays?
Jadavian, I couldn't hear you.
He said aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Paulina Solis Page, aye. Are there any nays?
We're waiting for one more person. She has just joined us. Health, welcome. Faith, welcome.
Thank you.
All right. Before we conclude that, we're just voted to add Bruce Williams to the Public Relations Committee. And so would you like to make your vote on that?
I vote that she be added to that committee.
So we'll assume that is an aye. Okay. There are no nays?
Sorry.
That's okay. So the motion carries. Bruce, you are now on the Public Relations Committee. And I'm glad that you are with us, Faith, because now we can actually get to the community projects, but you are driving, it seems. You are. So could you do me a favor and turn your camera off?
Sure.
Thank you.
Curtis, are you asking her to turn her camera off?
She's driving, so she'll be looking at us and talking and looking at the road.
Okay, she can have it on and keep her eyes on the road. That's fine, because we encourage everyone to have cameras on.
All right.
So Faith, you don't have to look at us.
Okay. I'm sorry. I really wanted to be a part of the meeting.
Okay. Moving on to the community projects. Thank you, Ms. Wanda. Faith, you're the chair of that committee, so do you have anything to report?
At this time, I do not have anything to report for the community project.
And Mr. Chair, actually, community projects ties in, I think, with the NLC.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I think that's a good tie-in. And I know that Faith and perhaps other members of that committee have been participating in the NLC meetings and helping with the survey. So if anyone would like, and I think that should be coming up. I don't have the agenda
It is next.
in front of me, but that might be our next item anyway.
Yes.
Someone like to kind of tie that in with community projects? Would you like to share about anything that you may have been a part of over the past few weeks with NLC?
Anyone?
Sure. I mean, I'd be more than happy to share some information about that. So I was a part of one of the calls more recently, and we were just discussing, I can't quite remember the lady's name that we spoke with, but we were discussing the effectiveness of our questions that we had selected. She went over them with us. She said that we had actually done a really good job at being thorough with the information that we had come together with, and then just encouraged us to go forward with the process as far as streamlining how we were going to provide the information to all the schools, and making sure that when we provided it was going to be on a uniform platform that was going to be the best for a platform that was going to be most conducive to the information being able to be processed in a streamlined manner, if that makes sense.
That makes perfectly good sense, Faith. And thank you. And to supplement what you said and to provide more details, we do have Ms. Tiffany, who is on the call with us from the Mayor's Think Orange campaign. And so, Ms. Tiffany, would you mind chiming in if you're still on and just sharing your perspective? And I know that you were kind enough to get Dr. Berner from UNC Chapel Hill. She's the person that Faith is referencing. Could you just kind of update us all?
Yeah, you know, I think in addition to what Faith said, we had an NLC larger call after meeting with Dr. Berner and got to share some of what we were working on from the housing and food side. And it sounded like, you know, on the food side that we were on the right track, even the housing side as well. Obviously with the survey, in order to have more validity in our work, I know that we need to go through some sort of IRB process, and that Dr. Berner said she would head that up. I'll have to follow up with her to see where that, or actually, Cornelius said he wanted to head that up. So I actually don't have a lot of updates. I think we're kind of waiting on WSSU to come back to us to say what's possible and how the IRB process is going.
Tiffany, do you mind describing that IRB process? And by the way, Mr. Cornelius Graves at WSSU did let me know that he has already initiated that process there and that it looks very good in terms of being able to do that.
Yeah, the IRB process is just ensuring that we're not collecting too much identifying information from students, and that we're doing this in a way that doesn't put people at risk, and that there is a research purpose for this. And it also just gives us validity, and it also kind of ensures that down the line we don't run into any issues because we are issuing this survey. So WSSU is going to be the head institution on that. And then if we do have other, your other respective universities that want to also issue the survey, it'll be fairly easy, as I understand, to be able to add those institutions onto that main IRB. The other thing, I don't remember if Faith just mentioned this, but Dr. Berner also mentioned that she would be willing, along with some other graduate students, to help us process that data and really make it something that can be, published and analyzed, and we can have some statistical analysis and understanding of the data once we do have the survey results. Does that answer your question, Ms. Wanda?
It absolutely does. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And Myra, did you have anything that you'd like to add? Because I know that you have been very involved, not only as a CAB member, but for those of you who may not realize it, Myra is also an intern with our department. So I know she's been very involved. Is there anything that you'd like to add?
I think we pretty much cover everything. You talked about the meeting with the advisor, and then also meeting with the other information, and they provided resources for analyzing and things like that. So it's pretty much the same.
Okay, thank you. And Bruce Jadavian, have you heard anything from Mr. Graves about?
I haven't, not since I reached out to him after the meeting with Dr. Berner. I haven't heard anything from him.
No, I haven't heard anything from Dr. Graves.
Okay.
Ms. Wanda, while we're speaking about Dr. Graves, was that the thing about the IRB, the Institutional Reward Board, we're waiting to see about? Because if it applied for one, it would apply for all?
That's right.
Okay.
And WSSU is taking the lead, as Tiffany said. And like I mentioned a minute ago, Mr. Graves said that he would definitely, he felt good about it. He's already initiated the process. And so it's just a matter of getting the official word.
Okay. And I think last meeting you said something about the Piedmont Triad development and the Housing Justice Act. I don't know if everybody was here.
Yeah, at the last meeting, I just mentioned that the Piedmont Triad Apartment Association, the CEO was on a recent call that I had with Mr. Graves and with Ms. Tiffany and Myra and Jamie, I believe all of them were on it. But anyway, the bottom line was they just wanted to make sure that they were involved with helping you all to brainstorm in terms of some possible solutions for housing, any housing needs. And so the Housing Justice Act is something that may end up being discussed by city government, but the way it would affect housing for college students is that it may afford some type of set aside for new developments in the city that could be used by college students. I don't know that it would necessarily be only for college, but whatever the set asides may be, when you look at the income requirements and so forth, it may end up being that it could have a very positive impact on housing availability for college students.
Excellent. Thank you, Ms.
So that's what you're remembering, Curtis. That's what it was.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Bruce, too. And so,
Curtis, did you or anyone else have the changes? Or I know that Dr. Berner mentioned that a couple of the questions perhaps could be reworded or changed changed or tweaked a little bit. Did anyone happen to make note of those? I know that Jamie made note of those, but did anybody else do that on CAB?
No, I didn't make note. What I did note of that she, Dr. Berner, I believe, I don't want to murder her name, talked about the baseline, and she thought the baseline of 10 questions was actually good. And then I think we used the two words affordable and adequate, and can students meet basic needs as far as rent, income, housing, foods, and tuition. I don't necessarily know if there was a change or modification of the questions that were involved. Ms. Jamie, I'll let you speak on that if there was a change that I'm unaware of.
Those were just tweaks. I think those were the I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Jamie, does that sound right to you?
Yeah, it does. I mean, I know we had we had changed like a few wordings on one or two questions, but otherwise I think she was impressed with your all's question.
She was. She seemed impressed.
Yeah, and she's impressive.
Oh, absolutely. She really is. And it was very generous of her. For those of you who may not be aware, Dr. Berner did avail herself to assist you all down the road with the survey as the results start to come in. And so does anybody recall the deadline for when we said we wanted to make sure that we did all the final tweaks and got the survey questions actually out? What was the ideal time frame? Does anyone remember?
Wasn't it like the middle of January, if I'm not mistaken?
January 21st, is that the date?
I don't know if it was that specific. I think that what I was thinking was, I guess I was more thinking about when we get the results back, because I'm thinking about spring. I wasn't really thinking about, I said it wrong. I wasn't really thinking about when you all would get them. It's more so getting back, because spring I remember being talked about. We discussed spring as being one of the targets. And so hopefully by that time you will have received those results back from the survey. And that is when Dr. Berner would really come in handy in terms of making sure that the survey results are properly interpreted.
Okay.
Thank you, Tiffany, for the reminder in the chat. Everybody check chat if you get a chance.
Okay. All right. And so I guess that brings us to the survey questions and the survey format, since we're actually already discussing it already. I don't actually have the survey questions that I can put on screen for everyone. I believe someone does, because they were on screen at one of the meetings. If we could review the questions and just go back on it so everybody gets a refresher. Does anybody have the questions?
And Curtis, while those are being pulled up, I think Jamie's probably working on it. Does anyone have any questions? Does everybody feel like they have a clear understanding of what it is that CAB is working on with the National League of Cities? Is everybody clear? If not, it's okay. This is the time to ask.
I have a question. It might be, like I said, a dumb question, but for the survey, are we first sending out to SSU or just to all of the university at the same time? Are we just doing that school first?
That's a great question. The plan is to do them at all of the campuses. And so remember, CAB, one of the things that you all said you would do is speak with your respective administrators on campus to make sure you had their support, and so that you would know the best way to get those survey questions out. So that's what everyone on CAB was charged with doing. If you have not done that, please make a note today so that you can do that in the coming days, so that you can touch base with those on your campus, whoever the appropriate people may be, so that you can see if they will support helping you get the survey out on a mass listserv of some type. And I think that also the majority of you agreed that email would be the best way to do it. So Jamie, thank you for pulling up the questions. Curtis, they're the survey questions.
Right, and now we have them up, thank you. So the first question is, do you have access to the 3 meals a day if you want them? And it's open, multiple choice, yes, no, prefer. The next is, in the past 3 months, have you skipped a meal or slept to alleviate hunger due to the lack of access to food? Again, multiple choice. I believe what direct barriers do you face that affect your access to food is a short answer, as an open-ended. And then 4, do you feel comfortable using free resources in the community, i.e. food banks, food pantries? Again, multiple choice. Have you ever paid for a meal of a friend or classmate due to the lack of resources on their part? Again, multiple choice. I can only see up to question 4 on the second half. Thank you, Ms. Jamie. Have you ever had trouble paying rent? If so, what do you do? Again, open-ended. Has someone you know had to take a break from school due to housing insecurity? Multiple choice. As a college student, have you or anybody you know experienced housing insecurity? Again, multiple choice. Question 4, what are the primary barriers to keep you from your affordable and accessible housing? Again, multiple choice. And the last question, have you ever experienced housing barriers based off your socioeconomic, my screen's a little bit, disability, race, etc.? Again, that's an open-ended question. The only thing that I would say right there's the questions in the format, and the survey format is something that we have not really discussed at length. Are we doing the questions on Microsoft Forum, or are we going to use the on Google Forms? But the medium that we choose, I think that it would probably be best that it would be uniform, but I'll leave that open to open discussion. So if anybody has any comments on what form that we should use to get these survey questions to each individual institution, or should we use multiple platforms depending on the how things are delivered at each individual school?
I would suggest that we use something maybe called Qualtrics, which seems like a more, in my opinion, a more secure form of sending out surveys rather than Google Forms, which seems like a little less secure to me.
Okay. Is that Qualtrix?
It's Qualtrics. And I agree with Sophie, because we at Wake Forest use like Google for our student emails, but I think that some of you all use Microsoft. And so I think that using more of a third party type of organization, or I guess website type of thing for the survey is kind of accommodating to no matter what email platform you use.
Thank you, Allie and Sophie. Anyone else?
Did anyone note in chat that Ms. Tiffany did mention that that's also what Dr. Berner recommended? She recommended that platform as well.
Definitely. I see that. And we should probably use the same platform so we're able to consolidate all the information easily.
Well, the people from Winston-Salem State chime in. Former President Obama said, well, them folks over there, they have anything? Myra.
I've never heard of it, but if y'all say it works, I mean, is it hard to use? Or is it just you have to log into something, or?
Oh, no. I know, like, we used it for graduation purposes. Sorry to cut you off, my bad, but we used it for graduation purposes for a survey. And it's really, it gets sent out to you, you fill out the survey, it may have some open response questions, and that's it.
Okay, then I don't think it will be a problem in my college, at least.
Anyone else?
Also, I had saw where they said that towards the end, they were going to try to figure out what type of demographic individuals were coming from. Are we also going to be able to ensure, though, that the questions aren't too directive to where we are not invading their personal?
Okay. I think that's definitely something. If I remember, the discussion was that the questions will allow the person to answer anonymous. If I'm wrong, can someone correct me on that? But I believe that was definitely something that we discussed.
Yeah, I think that is correct. I think the idea was that after the questions are answered, that part would be separate, as well as also talked about if they wanted to enter for like a gift card, and also if we could offer that incentive or not. I think that was also something that was in question. But all in all, I think the synopsis was that after that part is finished, it would kind of submit that information separate, and then they could could do that second part if I remember correctly. So there's kind of like two separate portions.
Okay. But I think the other thing, I don't know if we discussed it at length, was the follow-up resources. We know that obviously Miss Olivia, I hope I didn't say the name, Olivia or Oliva, has resources. And so the resources that can be attached to the survey, being that it is anonymous, is there an opportunity for, let's just say, an individual is actually seeking help while answering the questions? Is there an opportunity for them to utilize those resources or to contact someone? Did we? Yeah.
So it's Oliva. And for the resources, yeah, that's not going to risk the anonymity of anything, because we're not necessarily going to give those resources all the data that we've collected. They might see, your analysis at the end in general, but they're not going to be able to see that data. And I don't think we'll be collecting anyone's name to protect anonymity, however you say that. But yes, at the end, when they conclude the survey, it can probably say like, thank you. If you're in need of assistance now, here's 3 to 5 organizations that you can reach out to for help.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Does anyone else have any comment on that?
I think we discussed putting the demographic questions first before or 10 questions. So it will be the demographic, which is like, what year are you in college? I know we're asking what college they're on, and a question like that, and then the 10 questions, and then the resources at the end. So.
Okay.
I thought we agreed that the demographics were going to be at the end so that wouldn't affect the answers to the previous questions. I don't know, someone correct me if I'm wrong.
I would agree for them to be more so at the end also, personally, so that, again, it doesn't affect it. And also, I don't want it to deter anybody from filling out the questionnaire, because that is upfront, especially with it just being additional information that they can choose to opt in or out of.
Okay. Why don't we put that up to the floor and find out how we all feel about whether we want them at the beginning or at the end. And at the same time, since we're still open discussion, guys, chime in. Ian, you're allowed.
I motion that the questions be put at the end of the survey, the demographic.
Does anyone second that motion?
I second the motion.
Madam Secretary, can you take the vote?
Yes. Curtis Walker?
I will say the end. Yes, aye.
Ian Brewster?
Aye.
Kaylee Kimmerer?
Aye.
Sophie Brown?
Aye.
Kelly Morton?
Oh, aye. Sorry.
Here, good. Myra Ramirez?
Aye.
Okay, that's cool.
Jadavian King?
Aye.
Faith Springs?
Aye.
Cameron Allen?
Aye.
Bruce Williams III?
Aye.
Paulina Solis Page, aye. Any nays?
Okay, the motion carries, and that means that we will put the survey, the demographics at the end of the survey. And just an additional note, it's okay to say, if you really don't believe that you want it to be one way, it's okay to have it, an opposite opinion. Nobody's going to kill you. So just throwing it out there for future votes. It's okay to stand out. All right, so that really helps out a lot. So just a little recap. We've chosen the platform Qualtrics. Not officially, though. Not officially. So will someone make a motion that we choose Qualtrics as the platform that we'll be using?
I motion that we use Qualtrics for the platform for our survey.
Excellent. And will someone second that motion?
I'll second the motion.
Madam Secretary, can you take the vote?
Yes. Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Ian Brewster.
Aye.
Kaylee Carey.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Myra, I couldn't hear you. Can you say that again, please?
Yeah. Aye.
Thank you. Davian King.
Aye.
Faith Springs.
Aye.
Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Bruce Williams III.
Aye.
And Paulina Solis Page, aye. Any nays?
Excellent. So the motion carries, and Qualtrics will be used as the platform to administer the survey questions out to the respective campus locations. We have moved along really, really well. So just a little recap, we'll be using Qualtrics, and that the survey demographics will be at the end of the survey. There will, obviously, we have some follow-up research from Ms. Oliva, and we're in good shape there.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
have you all defined what the demographics should be?
not just yet. About to get to that.
Sounds good.
Okay.
I have a question. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
It's a program we're gonna use called Qualtrics or Qualtrics.
I'm going to defer to Ms. Morton on this one.
It's Qualtrics.
Okay.
But
okay. Thank you. Just wanted to be sure.
Good question.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, as far as demographics, are we going to just be trying to identify the cultural demographics of the individuals who are taking our survey? Or do we want to get deeper and find out not just that, but whether it's men or women or other individuals who identify as other, I forget the proper term, but people who identify differently.
Understandable. Yeah, society's changing.
I just want everybody to be represented properly, you know?
True. I will say that it's going to be tricky to get into he, she, hers. But what we can definitely utilize are age. We probably can utilize location, but if we start getting into the he, she, her, they, or whatever people identify themselves as, that might be a little tricky in my point of view. Of course, I'm going to open it up to the floor, but I think that we can definitely find out specific age groups that are experiencing it. It might be freshmen are experiencing more than seniors. It might be those that come from a certain socioeconomic demographic experience it more than those that don't. So I think that those are two areas that might be beneficial for us to know, especially considering our immediate environment here in Winston-Salem. We absolutely know there are definitely food deserts, and we know that there are definitely socioeconomic problems in various neighborhoods spread out across the Winston-Salem area. So I'm going to open up to the floor, and bright minds are here, so let's talk about it.
Okay, I'll start. I don't think we should go into gender unless we're trying to figure out if like women are more have a difficult time finding housing. I don't think we have to go that much into detail unless we need that information, which I don't think we do. We should try to figure out what percentage of the student population those struggles with housing or hunger. In my opinion, I do agree that we have to add a question about like the class, like if you're a senior, junior, anything like that. So that's the one I think is important.
Okay.
I was also wondering, maybe I should know this already, but is the survey confined to only like college and not to grad students as well? It's just college, like undergraduate students?
That's a good point.
Well, the grant itself, Cameron, and that is a dynamic question, by the way, is focused on post-secondary students. That's the parameter that that's all we have. So it would just be a matter of how would you all like to define that for your survey purposes? Do you think it's important to include grad students? Or do you think undergraduate students have a unique disposition when it comes to housing and hunger? Especially, with grad school and, people in law school, med school, whatever, it's a little different. The lifestyle's a little different. So I don't know that may skew what it is that you're really after. If you're looking primarily at the undergraduate experience, because you may have people like, for instance, when I was in law school, I went to school with a lot of people who were like, they were older and they already had like families and full-time jobs and that type of thing. And then there were those of us who came straight out of college into law school. Our experience was going to be a little different than theirs, even at that level. And certainly when you compared that experience from law school to the way life was as an undergrad, it was definitely a dramatic difference for a lot of reasons. So it just depends. It just depends on what it is that you all want to capture.
If I might springboard from that, Ms. Wanda, I know that one of the basics from reporting, and this kind of information that we'll receive or reporting. You need to know the who, the where, the why, how, what, and how. So just thinking about that, we're definitely looking to tailor our information to that. I would think. If I'm wrong, then step in.
And would you all want to look at full-time students only, or would you look at full-time and part-time, as Tiffany raised before she got off? Does anybody have a strong opinion one way or the other about grad versus undergrad, part-time versus full-time?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I think that we should add that information. Maybe we could put it as part of the demographic so that we can see if there is a correlation between some of the data in the other areas. Just thinking about, I can think about myself personally and some of the individuals that I've met. I think that, it could be a determining factor on where people are, or what they choose to do, or if they choose to go part-time versus full-time, which of course we'll, can get into that later, and it'll all be generalizations until we get to that point. But I think that would be valuable information to have, because those are some different things that can impact whether a student is going full-time or part-time. Someone could go part-time because they do have the food situation, or someone could also go full-time because they're trying to push through and get it done quickly. I think both of those are vital pieces of information personally.
I agree. Oh, sorry. I agree with Kate. I believe that, and I just did a quick Google search while we were talking about it. Most undergraduate students go straight into grad school nowadays, just by a quick Google search. So I think it is important that we include whether it is a undergraduate, I think we include that it's both undergraduate and graduate, whether we want to have the surveyors reveal that information with the demographics. I think that would be a very nice piece of information to have. And I also believe that we should have it open to part-time and part-time and full-time students, sorry. Because I know a lot of students that have to go full-time based on scholarship reasons. So it is just something that maybe they don't think they can go part-time, but they are doing it just to keep their scholarship or federal grant in place to keep attending the school. So I think it is important that we include both undergraduate, graduate, and part-time and full-time students.
Thank you, Kaylee.
So it appears that the most important points that we want to be able to capture from this survey is whether or not our students in this survey are full-time, part-time.
Ian, can you turn your music off?
I'm sorry. Hold on one sec. I'm actually.
Thank you. Where'd he go? While Ian's dealing with technical difficulties, is there anybody else that has something?
So is there a general consensus that the classification of the person should be included in terms of what year they are? And then, of course, do we want them to indicate part-time, full-time? And do we also want them to indicate race? Because usually when you see this type of information, race is usually something that's included. But I'm not sure if you all would agree with that in this situation. Oh, Ian, you're back. Good.
Yes.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, I was about to say that it appears there is a general consensus to everyone that we should include the age groups, what year they are in, as well as whether or not they are a post-secondary or a graduate student. And I also do want to go ahead and say that I feel like we should include the race to see what demographics are being affected the most in our area across each of these schools.
Okay, so I think that last part was new. So regardless of the school, when we collect the data, that's good. Or do we want to, well, actually, no, it really doesn't make sense because I believe there's only one community college involved. So I think that's really, really cool that we just kind of generalize the data, but at the same time, we make it specific.
So, Mr. Chair, you need a motion of what should be included for the demographics.
Yes, ma'am.
And somebody who has a great memory with the things that we just finished talking about, those items need to be included in your motion.
That's the trick.
That's right.
I'm gonna help everybody out. So we definitely want age, we want race, we want postgraduate, we want graduate, we want full-time, we want part-time, because I wrote it all down. So when you make the motion, yes, Mara.
When you say age, is like our age, like 21, 20, or like we're doing like classification, like senior, junior, or are we doing both?
I thought you guys were going to do both.
Both?
I'm seeing heads nodding, so I think it's both, Myra.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
So age and class. Okay. So I'm going to just to recap. So we want full-time, part-time, grad, undergraduate. We want age and class, and we would also prefer race, but no gender. I think that's what everybody agreed to. So whoever's going to make the motion, that's your cheat sheet.
I make a motion. Oh, go ahead. Okay. I make a motion that the demographics include age, class, race, full-time or part-time status, and graduate or postgraduate status.
That's a good motion. Does anybody second that motion? Thank you. The twins, thank you, the triplets. Excellent. Madam Secretary, could you take the vote, please?
Yeah. Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Kaylee Kimmerer.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Davian King.
Aye.
Faith Springs.
Aye.
Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Ian Brewster.
Aye.
Bruce Williams III.
Aye.
And Paulina Solis Page. Aye. Any nays?
Excellent. So the motion carries that we will include connected to our survey and the demographics. There will be full-time, part-time, grad, undergraduate, age, class, as well as race. And thank you, committee, for board for working through those little things there. So that was pretty cool. All right. So I think the next thing we need to move to
Curtis?
Yes.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt. I do have a question.
Yes.
This
I like
isn't
that.
to call another vote or anything like that. But I was wondering on the demographic information as far as race, would it be just like an open question? Like, because I do know as far as like job loss and everything that's going on, I know that the demographics have skewed to like mostly women or mostly certain demographics in that portion of like job loss, housing insecurity, food insecurity. So would that be like just an open question that could be on there that people can respond to, or not included at all?
That's a good point. And I think, let me just go a little bit further, if I may. Can that portion of the demographics, if they so choose to be anonymous?
I think it already is set to be anonymous, but what you could do is add an option underneath there that says Black, white, Hispanic, etc., and then I choose not to provide.
Prefer not to say? Okay.
Another thing, sorry to interrupt, but race and ethnicity are two different things. So I don't know if we specify that and include both, because if we put, Hispanic is not a race, so.
That's a point. Well said. So I think,
That's correct. And so typically it'll say ethnicity, Hispanic, non-Hispanic. And then race underneath that would have a separate classification. So we may have to find a way to go with regulation on how that should be listed. If there is a regulation, otherwise, then that may be something that we need to discuss. But I know typically ethnicity is Hispanic or non-Hispanic.
I believe we're in the right place. Miss Wanda, in your professional opinion.
Human resources.
That's right. I'm going to defer right now. We're going to ask for some outside help.
Isn't that kind of you all just to defer that to me? What I would recommend, is that someone from the Collegiate board work up a draft that can be emailed to everyone to review. But within that draft, I do believe it is totally appropriate to indicate race by saying race/ethnicity, and then have African American, Caucasian, and then, as Myra said, you can have Hispanic, non-Hispanic. Myra, if you know something about that in terms of the best wording, you could certainly contribute that information, and then prefer not to indicate. We see it all the time. So I think that it's a really good thing. And of course, we want to include Asian, we just want to make sure we're thorough. But someone would be willing to draft that. I think that would be a good start.
In light of that information, I'm going to do something. I don't know if, I know we didn't do it last semester, or the last board. Is it possible that we could make a demographic committee just to handle that, and you guys could work that out and then be able to get that to the rest of us?
An ad hoc committee would totally be appropriate.
Good. So this is one of the few times I'm actually going to make a motion. So I'm going to make a motion that we do add an ad hoc demographic committee to work out the specifics on the wording for the demographic survey. Anyone would like to second that motion? Excellent. Madam Secretary, we take a vote.
Yes. Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Haley Kimmerer.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
I think she would vote aye.
Okay. Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Ian Brewster.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry.
Thank you. Thank you, Sophie. Ian
Aye.
Brewster, did you vote already?
Yeah, aye.
Thank you. Dagan King.
Aye.
Faith Spring.
Aye.
Bruce Williams III.
Oh, hold on. Aye.
And Paulina Solis Page, aye. Any nays? Thank you.
Okay, the motion carries, the ayes have it, and the official name will be the Ad Hoc Demographic Survey Committee. Now we just need a couple volunteers to volunteer to be on that committee.
I volunteer.
Excellent. Maybe have some couple more, or it doesn't matter how many. Excellent,
I'll
Cameron.
volunteer.
It's Ali, Cameron.
I'll also volunteer.
That was also
Also-
me, Sophie, not Allie.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sophie, Ali, and Myra, I believe that. And Cameron. Okay.
And did you get Faith? I
And Faith.
volunteer.
Yes. Yep, I saw. So if I'm correct, it's Cameron, Ali, Faith. No, excuse me, it's Sophie. Cameron, Faith, Sophie, Myra. Is that correct? Just those four? I'm sorry. I kind of volunteered you, Ali. Okay, excellent. So just make that committee official. I'll make the motion. So I motion that Cameron, Faith, Sophie, and Myra be added to the Ad Hoc Demographic Survey Committee. And Madam Secretary, you take the vote.
Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Haley Kimmerer.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Ian Brewster.
Aye.
Faith Springs.
Aye.
Sorry, Faith, I didn't hear you. Can you say that again?
Aye.
Thank you. Bruce Williams III.
Aye.
Paulina Solis Page, aye. Any nays? Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. So that means the motion carries. So the Ad Hoc Committee, Demographic Survey Committee will consist of Cameron, Faith, Sophie, and Myra. Special instructions would be, if it's possible, that we could have that done by the next meeting. However, as you guys communicate with each other, I know everybody has everybody's emails. And then also, if you come up with a draft, could you let me and everyone else know what that draft looks like before, so we could be prepared for the next meeting, if that's possible. All right, moving right along. The next thing on our staff reminders and information, I'm gonna defer to Ms. Wanda and Ms. Jamie if there's anything else that we need to cover that we have not covered as of yet.
One thing I wanted to mention, Curtis, is the campus communications recommendations, which was prior to the staff reminders on your agenda. Again, please make sure that you check in with your respective administrators on campus about getting the survey out, please, because hopefully we can get the survey out in February so that you can receive those results no later than March. So that it's going to be extremely important to have your campus's approval. So please remember to do that so that you can be prepared to report back at your next CAB meeting, if not before, okay? Second thing is, even though we're kind of going into staff reminders, you all decided early on that you wanted to have a collegiate trust talks. and that is the Trust Talks. The Trust Talks program is a dialogue between the police department for the city of Winston-Salem and your respective campus police departments and students to talk about issues that are relevant and germane to you as college students. And so if you all want to still do Trust Talks for the spring semester, which is typically what CAB does, then you need to really start thinking about that as well. And we can do that primarily through email because your campus police chiefs are used to Trust Talks. They actually participate in it every single year, and so it won't be new to them. Not most of them anyway. So if you want to do that again, usually it happens around April. And so we really need to start thinking very hard about trying to pull that together in a virtual format. So that's really all I had. Jamie, did you have anything else?
No, I know Cameron is working on the newsletter, so we'll just be looking at like a late March, early April deadline with that.
And one thing I wanted to add is CAB, you all had full attendance today before Jadavian hopped off. Everyone was present. It was really good to see everybody on the call. And so we just want to keep up that momentum because you have those two very important things to wrap up prior to the end of the semester, the survey, and then of course, Collegiate Trust Talks. So we are going to be in touch. It is extremely important to be responsive to the emails and to monitor your emails. I know you all aren't in the emails like, you know, CAB used to be years ago, but that is a very important way that we keep in touch with you, and we put you in touch with your administrator sometimes that way as well. So please monitor your emails for any CAB information, okay? But you all had a fantastic meeting today. So proud of you. You got a lot accomplished. Thank you, and make sure NLC meetings, whenever you can attend those virtual meetings. CAB's presence is very appreciated and valued by the National League of Cities. So we need to see your faces on those meetings as well. I will be sending an email to you, if not today, then tomorrow, about the next NLC meeting. So be on the lookout for that, please. Thank you. That's all we had. Amy, did you have something?
Well, just the next meeting time. So this worked for everybody. This time, this 2 to 3 on a Tuesday. Is that for us to pick in a few weeks to do it again around this time? Would that work for most?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll probably look around mid-February instead of late February because you all have a lot going on. So we don't want to wait too late in February. So it won't be this late in February. So we'll look around the middle part. And mid-Tuesday, mid-February, a Tuesday is around what date? Anybody have a calendar up?
I don't know.
The 9th or
the 16th, yeah.
Tuesday, the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
Can everybody do Tuesday, the 16th at 2 o'clock?
Yeah.
Okay. So that means maybe we'll have a full house again. We need you all to be there, definitely. So if at all possible, please do make Tuesday, February the 16th at 2 o'clock p.m. via Zoom. Okay?
Excellent.
So,
all
Mr.
right.
Chair, you just need a motion rather to adjourn the meeting.
I think Ian was about to do that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, Ian, I'm very sorry for stealing your thunder.
I motion.
Curtis Walker.
Aye.
Amy Kimmerer.
Aye.
Sophie Brown.
Aye.
Allie Morton.
Aye.
Myra Ramirez.
Aye.
Cameron Allen.
Aye.
Ian Brewster,
Aye.
Faith Springs,
Aye.
Bruce Williams III,
Aye.
Paulina Solis Page. Aye. Any nays? Thank you.
All right, the motion carries. So this meeting is now officially
Good
adjourned.
job, good job, good job.
And I guess we'll see each other either on the 9th or the 16th of February.
The 16th.
Okay. Stay safe.